Hello and welcome to part 4. This is such an important part of the whole goal setting experience, and you'll see why. Because when we have to, especially at this stage of our lives, maybe in our 30s, 40s, 50s, I see some of you 20-year-olds, thank you. We're in that stage where we're just going. We're going. And I think back to being a kid in the 6 weeks holiday. There were so many times where I just lie on the grass and think about things, or I just felt like I had hours of time to do stuff. And I've really realized how key that time was to creating the life that I have now. Because when I was a kid, I was doing all of those things. I was making up voices, I was imagining things, I was sketching things out, I was painting, I was drawing, I was doing it all, that creative side in me. And yet, that doesn't happen quite so easily now, so I have to cultivate it. So, here's the first thing I want to share. If you haven't seen the 3 parts before this, go back and watch them, because this will make much more sense. The first thing that I was doing at this time, 2019, 2018, 2020, I was spending time with my future self. I felt like I was almost like collecting wood every single day, going and getting the wood and bringing it back to the place. Creating the nest, building it. That nature analogy really works. Sorry, I've just knocked my thing over. Anyway, we'll keep going. So I was spending time with my future self. And I think what the assumption is sometimes is that we stay in this place where we're working and doing the things over here, but we just assume that over here is just going to build itself. And of course it doesn't. That present self and that future self need to be in conversation. And this was really, really key when we were in the moving process of this house. It took a long time. It took 5 months. And there were many times along the way where on paper it would be like, this is not going to happen. We're getting our hopes up. But yet there was something in me that was like, no, keep going, keep connecting with the house. So I was running a lot at the time, and every time I'd go on the route and I'd run past this house, and our bedroom is at the front of the house. And every time I was like, that's going to be my bedroom. And we set all these things up. And it was so anchoring for me. It really kept the faith and kept the promise that these things were going to happen. And so if you're in that moment where you can't move forward, you feel stale, you feel stuck, go back and say, okay, how can I put some wood? How can I gather up some twigs for the nest that's over there? What do I need to do? Number 2, I had to come back to my own belief. And this belief that I had for the next few years about the chapter that I wanted to build, there were times where I was the only one who believed it, who understood it. And I felt like that a lot in my times. I can really access those parts of me. And because Matt and I have been together for so many years now, sometimes I will come up with an idea and he's listening to the idea, he's absorbing the idea, but maybe he's not quite on the train yet. And that's okay, of course it is, and I'm not also saying that I'm always right, because I'm not. But this sense that if I believed what was going on, what I was capable of, sometimes I just needed one person. And sometimes they say you just need one yes. Well, sometimes that one yes is you. That one yes is you. Number 3, how you do something is how you do everything. Step it up. So often there are gaps, there are things, there are routines and habits and things that get stuck. And this is so difficult because everything's moving so fast. And what I've learned is if I want to go fast, I have to sometimes go slow and take a step back and build the systems and do the things and do things properly and give myself longer wiggle room. And everything in me is like, I don't want to do that. No thanks. No thanks. But I know that I want to do good work and I want to be a good person and I want to have great experiences and all of that. And so this thing of how you do something is how you do everything. I've also learnt this a lot through parenting. You know, parenting has made me up my game. It's all very well as the parent saying, you got to do this and you got to do that and keep doing this. Am I saying that to myself? Am I doing that in action? And I have to look at that. Interesting. Number 4, trim the crap. De-head it, de-weed it, and really become acutely aware of how you are operating. It's all being well saying you want this or this is happening or you've seen this opportunity but it's not coming your way. Maybe you are getting in the way. Not always. Sometimes there's other things that come into place. But we have to take responsibility for ourselves. We have to check ourselves. Are you going into rooms and bringing a bit of an air or something that you haven't dealt with yet? That's something that's getting in the way? Is it like a little chip on your shoulder or a little weird, I'm not saying it's you, I've done all of these things as well, but like you're bringing in this little weird phrases or underplaying what you do and it's like, get rid of all of the stuff. I've spoken about this so often, the number of questions I hear about imposter syndrome, I'm like, why are we giving this energy all the time? Oh, I have imposter syndrome. I don't want to hear about your imposter syndrome. I want to hear about all the amazing things that you're doing. Because actually, when you do that and you say those, the imposter syndrome kind of moves away and it sort of doesn't have as much power. Obviously, we're all human beings and we're all going to have moments of self-doubt and things like that. But there's nothing worse than males especially talking to us about our imposter syndrome. We don't hear that in male conversations. So I just want you to be aware of that as we navigate through. Finally, simplify. Communicate cleanly, early, and with kindness. When you're going through a stretch, a moment where an acceleration, a development period, a growth stage, you have to simplify and you have to clean things up. So that thing that you might have thought, I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it and they want me to go to that party and actually I don't know if I want to go to that thing because it's at the other side of London and like what will I do? If your first instinct is I don't want to do that, communicate cleanly, early, with kindness. Get that stuff out of your head. If it's a no, if you can't do that, say now. Because the northern phrase, you've got bigger fish to fry. You absolutely have. So that will need your focus. That will need your attention. And give it that breathing space. I hope that's been useful for you. If you want to work one-on-one, if you want to make a plan, if you've got big ideas for the next month, the next year, the next 6 months, I am now doing my sessions face-to-face at Members Club in London. Come and have a chat. Come and have a day with me, an hour, a 2 hour, however you want to do this. But let's do something. Let's make some mega moves and I'll see you next time. Bye.